Joseph Murphy taught for decades that economic abundance is not the result of chance, but the result of the dominant vibration that a person establishes in their being. When Murphy investigated families that went through prolonged monetary difficulties, he detected an intriguing yet unsettling pattern. These families carried, without recognizing it, an energetic pattern of financial lack that maintained itself generation after generation, like a skipping track playing non-stop the same frequency of scarcity. Murphy called this phenomenon energetic inheritance. He found that each family group possesses a specific emotional frequency related to financial resources, a frequency that passes on through behaviors, silent beliefs and emotional responses regarding money problems. This received pattern acts like invisible programming, establishing not just what value someone can save, but equally their primordial connection with abundance. Murphy grasped that various money-related hindrances that he noticed did not stem from inability or negative chance, but merely in the received pattern that every being assimilated since childhood. This epiphany radically transformed the methodology by which Murphy approached financial transformation. Instead of teaching only methods to earn money or resource allocation approaches, Murphy concentrated on something fundamental, transmuting the vibrational pattern regarding money that someone absorbed from their ancestors. Murphy described extraordinary stories of people who succeeded to overcome this received resonance, utilizing specific methods of cognitive reworking. One of these examples detailed a professional identified as Roberto, whose family heritage experienced a persistent cycle of financial failure that continued for generations. His forefather had experienced the loss of all his patrimony in a failed speculation. His progenitor had lived through failed businesses, and Roberto, although dedicating himself to work obsessively, perceived himself replicating the exact same self-destructive cycle. Each time he managed to accumulate an expressive sum of money, an occurrence was triggered inexplicably, and the individual saw everything vanish. It was as if there was an unseen power hindering his conscious efforts. Murphy mentored Roberto for consecutive periods, teaching him a fundamental principle that would constitute the base in his complete doctrine. The unconscious does not recognize a difference between wealth you achieved and money your lineage believes it deserves. If in your inner self exists the energy that money brings risk, that prospering is risky, that financial tranquility is deceptive or a hoax, thus your unconscious mind will strive constantly to keep you within this vibration, for it represents the genuine reality. The unconscious does not ask questions. It simply executes the scripts that were installed in your consciousness through family experience. Roberto, at last, comprehended that he was not lazy or deficient. He was conditioned, and mental patterns can be reconfigured. Murphy clarified that when you alter the preponderant frequency in your being, you change the directive that you send to your unconscious. It resembles reconfiguring a computer that was running with outdated software, which is unfavorable. If the application stays established to welcome uniquely a particular amount of resources, then it will constitute exactly what you will earn, without considering how much energy you dedicate. Murphy demonstrated this mechanism by means of contemplative visualization systems that he had established for many years. He advised his patients to devote about 5 to 10 minutes each morning, ideally right upon waking when the psyche is situated in a permeable alpha state, conjuring the image of not merely the entry of capital in their lives, but mainly the inner perception of security, authentic confidence and personal value that comes along with this entry. Murphy emphasized decidedly that this living constituted the essential key. It was not the money by itself that had importance for the evolution. It formed the frequency that the individual formed in relation to money. With Roberto, Murphy started a process that he named Ancestral Vibrational Transmutation, a practice that he had refined through hundreds of successful cases. Roberto would need to, during 2 months, commit 15 minutes every night when going to sleep in a state of deep meditation. In this special moment, Roberto should identify with full consciousness the entire financial legacy of his family tree. He should imagine his direct forebear experiencing the financial catastrophe, his progenitor fighting failed ventures, and all these beings who came before who preceded him taking like patterns. Then, psychically, Roberto should enunciate with genuine feeling. I accept the story of you all. I acknowledge with devotion the sacrifice you made. I recognize the importance of the trajectory you tread and the difficulties you faced. But now, in this sacred space, I let go of this vibration of restriction from my core. I fix a new frequency for our lineage. Henceforth in my existence, movement of wealth, abundance, and monetary tranquility represent the central pattern that determines my choices and my world. Murphy observed meticulously that when Roberto did this with genuine sincerity, with true emotional feeling that involved his whole being, something extraordinary began to happen in the external world. Roberto's financial situations began to reorganize subtly, but surely. An opportunity that Roberto would have previously rejected out of fear or mistrust came to be seen under a new, illuminated perspective. An old client returned with a substantial project. An unexpected scholarship for his daughter appeared at the exact moment when her education was a financial concern. None of this was coincidence, Murphy explained with conviction. It was simply the natural and inevitable consequence of an altered vibration. When you change your internal vibration, the entire universe needs to reorganize itself to correspond to this new frequency you have established. People, opportunities, resources, everything begins to align differently in your life. Murphy formulated a law that he referred to as Law of Vibrational Correspondence, a law that he had proven in multiple cases. This truth proclaims that the external world always responds completely to the dominant internal reality. If in your psyche prevails with intense fear of poverty, then the exterior reality will reveal incessantly events that confirm this terror and sustain your limiting thought. If in your psyche prevails deep certainty in your natural wealth, then the surrounding environment will present possibilities that expand and amplify this tranquility. The most innovative element of this truth is that it performs without considering your present position or your previous experiences. A person completely indebted who alters their dominant vibration to abundance will start within a few weeks to identify small changes that are perceptible. These alterations are generally slight in the initial phases, but are markers of a real transformation. An unforeseen cost is impeded because you opt to cease making an automatic purchase. An opening emerges because you remained in better psychological climate to interact with someone relevant. Your complete self starts to pulse in a diverse vibration. Murphy had a special interest in the family aspect of this transformation because he had observed an extraordinary phenomenon repeatedly. When a person changes their vibration and manages to maintain this change for a sufficient period, the entire family dynamic begins to reorganize deeply. Children who were struggling financially begin to prosper unexpectedly. Parents who faced chronic difficulties find new solutions and paths. It is as if this person, by raising their own vibration, pulled the entire lineage to a new vibrational level. Murphy explained this as a principle of family resonance. When a musical instrument begins to vibrate at a specific frequency, all other nearby instruments naturally begin to vibrate at the same frequency, even without physical contact. Likewise, when you establish a vibration of prosperity within you, all those energetically linked to you naturally begin to enter into resonance with this elevated frequency you created. To generate this change of vibration that was continuous and radical, Murphy created a system composed of 3 stages that he considered absolutely essential for victory. The first moment is what Murphy identified as conscious ancestral recognition, and he insisted that it was impractical to proceed without ending authentically this initial phase. In this stage, you need to dedicate time sincerely understanding the entire financial path of your lineage. This does not signify accusing your progenitors or pushing them away with negative frequency. It means just seeing with crystal clarity what they experienced, the intense pains that they faced, the structures that they developed as a survival mechanism in periods of difficulty. Murphy observed that various beings sought to pretend this uncomfortable narrative, strive to pretend there was nothing, and this prejudiced irreversibly the true transformation. It is truly impossible to free oneself from something you refuse consciously to admit. Murphy guided his patients to start this simple practice, which is transformative. At dusk, Ideally at bedtime, when consciousness stays more open, sit in absolute silence. Do breaths consciously for some moments, and psychically think deeply on your family. See the images of those who came before. Admit the adversities that they lived. Say mentally with genuineness a statement like, "I recognize that you, my male ancestor, endured traumatic losses that generated deep fear in your core. I welcome that you, my grandmother, created survival patterns that propagated successively between generations." Murphy explained that this recognition is deeply healing on a spiritual and psychological level. By recognizing the story, you take this story out of the unconscious, where it operates silently controlling your actions, and bring it to the full light of consciousness. In this clear light, it loses the power to control you automatically. It ceases to be something that controls you like a puppet, and becomes something you see with absolute clarity, and can choose to transform. Murphy used to say with emphasis that nothing that remains unconscious can be truly transformed. Everything that is brought to consciousness can be worked on, can be dissolved, can be rewritten in a completely different way. This first stage should be practiced for at least 2 weeks every day with genuine emotion and complete attention. The second stage of Murphy's method is what he called declared vibrational disconnection, and he was absolutely clear about its critical importance. In this stage, after consciously recognizing the ancestral story, you must declare with authority that this vibration of limitation will no longer be the dominant force of your life. Murphy was not in favor of a vague or intellectual approach in this stage. He demanded genuine emotion, clear intention, and deep commitment, not just to the words, but to real transformation. After recognition, still in your moment of silence at night, Murphy instructed his clients to place their hand over their heart and say with unshakable emotional firmness, "I completely release the vibration of scarcity that was inherited through generations. I unlink my conscious mind from every pattern of financial limitation that belonged to my ancestors. I allow my soul to be the genuine and true origin of my prosperity and abundance. From this moment, the dominant vibration I establish and maintain is that of conscious abundance, genuine confidence, and unlimited flow." Murphy explained that this declaration performs for it institutes a new force in your interior. You do not remain refusing your ancestors or your history. You stay solely expressing your inalienable right as a conscious being who is independent to choose a distinct pattern. Murphy had recorded numerous cases validated where this confession, when executed with genuine emotional sincerity, generated a vibrational rupture so powerful and transforming that visible modifications began in subsequent days. He maintained noted instances where people communicated vibrant dreams and exceptional dreams moments after the declaration, dreams in which their forebears appeared to validate this change with quiet approval and energetic consent. Although Murphy revealed himself a methodical researcher who was rigorous in his general method, he admitted that there prevailed phenomena that went beyond merely material understanding and cerebral logic. The third stage is the one Murphy considered absolutely the heart and soul of the entire vibrational transformation. He called it continuous vibrational re-establishment, and it was in this stage that the real work of rewriting your financial reality happened. In this stage, you not only dissolve the old problematic vibration, but actively establish a new vibration that becomes your dominant pattern. Murphy was extremely specific and precise about how to do this to achieve real results. After the declaration of disconnection, still in their deep and receptive meditative state, Murphy instructed his clients to visualize a field of golden, luminous, and living energy completely enveloping their heart, radiating to their entire body. This field is not vague or abstract. It is real, intensely felt in the body, palpable like a transforming physical presence. Murphy frequently asked his clients to describe in precise detail how this golden field felt in their physical body. Some described gentle and comforting heat. Others described deep and enveloping safety. Still others described an extraordinary sensation of expansion and freedom. While he sustained this sharp image and lived, Murphy instructed with firmness, "Say in your mind with absolute conviction, 'My preponderant frequency now reveals itself as conscious abundance. My physical being pulses totally with financial security. My unconscious mind finds itself totally reformatted to receive with generosity, to earn completely, and to retain perpetually prosperity. My energy is aligned entirely with possibility, unlimited flow, and unlimited growth. The limitation that was bequeathed disappeared totally forever. The abundance that represents my original divine heritage installs itself now as the permanent situation of my being. Murphy reiterated categorically that these sentences must be enunciated not superficially from habit or superficially, but with real intensity of feeling, with honesty that emanates from the being, as if you were declaring the most essential teaching and essential of your complete life. Murphy observed that this third stage is exactly where most people faced significant difficulties in the process. They managed to do the first two stages with some success, but in the third stage, the rational mind began to doubt and question. How can I say I am prosperous if I have significant debts? How can I say my vibration is abundance if my bank account tells another story of limitation? How can I declare what only my current reality denies? Murphy had a clear and transformative answer for this. He explained that the rational mind does not govern true reality. Vibration governs reality. The rational mind is merely a tool that describes retroactively what vibration has already created. If you want to change what the rational mind describes, you must first change the vibration at the root. Murphy used a potent and transformative metaphor. He said that vibration is like the root of a tree, and visible financial results are like the branches, leaves, and flowers. If you only look at the visible branches and try to change the tree by pruning the branches, you will never achieve real or lasting change. But if you change the fundamental root, the whole tree changes inevitably. Murphy oriented that this terminal stage be practiced constantly, day after day, absolutely without pauses, for a minimum period of 40 days in a row. He had selected the period of 40 days, for he had observed in diverse cases that it was justly the necessary duration for a new vibrational pattern to establish itself completely as the prevailing pattern in the deep nucleus of the hidden psyche. The first 14 days are about establishment and implantation of the new vibrational pattern. The new vibration still feels fragile and inconstant. It still fights aggressively with the old patterns that fight to continue. Between days 15 and 28, something essentially transforms and unlocks itself. The new vibrational pattern commences little by little to reach authentic vigor, to perceive more natural and legitimate, more essential to your heart. In the period of 29 to 40 days, the new frequency finally firms itself as the predominant vibration that guides your reactions. After 40 days of consistent practice and heartfelt practice, Murphy verified that his patients reported an emotional transformation so significant that it was apparent even to external observers. The terror that freezes about money reduced considerably until extinguishing itself. The remorse of prospering and accepting disappeared completely. A peace which was quiet, deep and unshakable in the economic destiny initiated to sprout spontaneously from your essence. Murphy had a particular and very effective method to help his clients maintain absolute consistency during these critical 40 days. He recommended they keep a simple and honest journal. Each night, after completing the full ritual of the 3 stages, they should briefly note what they felt and observed, not for heavy intellectual analysis, but simply to deepen the experience and root it. Murphy observed that when people recorded their experience in words, the practice became more concrete, more real, more irrefutable. He also recommended that during these 40 days of transformation, people be particularly attentive to the small signs of change that appeared. A small but significant opportunity that arose unexpectedly, an unexpected expense that was providentially avoided, a casual conversation with someone that led to an interesting and unexpected possibility. Murphy taught that vibrational change does not typically begin with spectacular and dramatic results. It begins always with small synchronicities indicating that vibration is genuinely changing at the deepest level. Murphy accentuated a critical element that various despised absolutely during their implementation. In this period of 40 days of disciplined realization, The concrete acts likewise keep essential relevance. The frequency establishes the fertile ground, yet you still need to possess the bravery to take action. If an opportunity emerges on your life path, you have to cultivate the determination in exploring it honestly. If a conception surges relative to how to multiply your revenue or to expand your revenue flows, you need to keep yourself open in putting it into practice with determination. Murphy referred to this as aligned action, and it remained fundamentally vital. It forms the attitude that flowers spontaneously once your vibration has modified to prosperity. This action remains being radically distinct from the desperate attitude grounded in dread. It is conduct that is secure, crystal clear, instinctive, and exact. Murphy stated that as his patients kept the correct vibration and performed constantly in alignment with this vibrational pattern, the doors flowered in multiple ways that in the past appeared absolutely impossible or even miraculous. The trajectory that the Master Murphy made available was essentially a trajectory of authentic liberation and deep. It did not constitute evasion from real challenges. It was meeting the tangible reality that you were molded by ancestral transmitted frequency and deciding in a conscious way and with power to modify this resonance fully. It was accepting that you have extraordinary strength not only to alter your own living, but to transcend the entire history and future of your entire lineage. This knowledge forms genuine power in its purest expression, not the power just to subjugate or to triumph over enemies, yet the genuine power to transform, to transmute vibration, to transcend historical blocks. This teaching, Murphy revealed with unbreakable conviction, represents the authentic liberation which is monetary and sacred that every conscious creature seeks.